Session 6 of Lumineth, the Looming Green. We return in the Temple of the Yokai and continue to ask a few poignant questions. Since we've kind of moved on from the Aarakocra, Lyric decides to ask more about the yokai to gain an interest in what yokai are, how they exist, that kind of thing. Since we have an inkling already that Patch is not quite a spirit, not quite a yokai, and there's some strange thing going on there. We also know that the canister we have needs to have yokai essence, so we ask them about helping us gather that essence. While the kind of high priest there, the kind of head yokai of that temple, will look into that information for us. He gives us a task. This task is to go and find this newly formed yokai that had been in that bubble, the one that resulted from our actions of killing those spirits. So we agreed. Zeke was willing to do anything to get out of the yokai temple at this point, so he was in agreement with us. And on our way into the forest nearby, I decided in my character's infinite wisdom, and most of the party agreed, that we would leave Zeke at the very back, as we had discovered and learned on the course of our journey that intention is what matters the most when interacting with these yokai. And so we don't want someone who currently is in a bad mood with these other yokai being the first to interact with this new yokai. So we do some tracking in the forest. Using the maps helps a little bit, but mostly our more survivalistic members, like our druid Cisco, and I believe Milton, our fisherman sorcerer, is also fairly capable at tracking, help us the most to find this forming yokai, this budding child of a yokai. Lyric approaches it with the intent of making a friend and of bringing it home. So, like, those are kind of the core principles in his heart at the time, are friendship and home and family, that kind of thing. So the yokai starts to kind of crawl up. It starts to form a little bit, so its arms become kind of simian. Its tail kind of grows out, and as it turns to look at Lyric, it seems to peer into his heart and his intentions, and it kind of attaches to the artist in him, and around its eyes these little pools of color kind of appear, and it kind of turns into this cute little monkey yokai with these very colorful eyes and these kind of flares of color in the fur around its eyes. We ask it if it has a name, and it does not. So we decide to name it Luffy. So it's our little Luffy monkey yokai. Lyric tries to carry it, but it's a little too big for him, as he's a small creature. He's small. And so Patch carries Luffy, and we head back to the temple and return him. And in lieu of actually being able to give us essence of yokai, as we thought maybe the temple might be able to, they instead give us information about where we can go, some different towns that we can visit in order to be able to quest down to acquire this yokai essence. So we do note down that information. We do know that there's still some time before we head to Nomeria to collect the human essence, so we know that we have to spend the night. As we are heading to our resting place, our gathering house, I believe it is called, Zeke, in his infinite wisdom, decides that he is going to go back to essentially the magical sex toy shop that he had been to, where he had gathered some information about another Aarakocra before, where he'd gotten the ball gag to be able to prevent spellcasting, and he gathers the information that there was another Aarakocra there who had bought essentially a magical love potion. And since the shopkeep would not give him the information about who bought the love potion and where they are and who they are and all of that kind of thing, he for his intention switches, and he buys some of the love potion. About, I think it was 2 small love potions that last about 2 hours each. Takes that with us to our inn, where we all meet up. And Milton decides he's gonna go fishing, so goes down to the dock and rents a boat. Goes out, does some fishing, and the rest of us set up the bar, essentially the bar area of our gathering house, to have a party. We've got Patch performing with the band on stage. We've got my character Lyric kind of being the manager, hyping him up, using illusory script to make some playing cards and putting them out on the doors, and making displays and things like that to kind of draw in the crowd. And Cisco and Zeke both decide that they want to get behind the bar because they don't think that the percentage that the Gathering House is willing to give Patch for his performance is enough. So what they end up doing is tricking the bartender into relapsing into some alcoholism, so that they can get behind the bar and dump both of the love potions into the most popular beer cask, essentially roofying everyone who is at the party, who comes for the performance. So we do our best to attract a crowd. The performance goes great. We gather a bunch of coin at the end, and then we kind of settle down. And in the morning, we have our food. We collect our monies. Lyric pockets a little bit of the money because he was collecting it at the door. So he, slides I think it was 6 gold coins into his little pouch with no one noticing, because it's a big distraction, right? The manager's got to take a little cut off the top, but then also I took 25% of the cut that the talent got. So I got paid decently, even if Patch got most of the money. So after that night with Zeke having spent all his money on magical roofies and not really getting any in return, not really accomplishing his goals, I think he was a little sourpuss, and we head off to find Heather to begin our journey to Nomeria, since she would have finished with the transport. And I believe, because I'm doing a couple of these in a row, that's where we left off, just getting ready to head over to either to Heather or to Nomeria. I think we get into the teleportal at the end of session, if I remember correctly. So we have spent some time with Heather. We tell her about Luffy. And tell her that she's got a friend essentially at the Yokai Temple that she should go visit while we're gone, just to make sure that he's safe, to make sure that he's well taken care of, and that he's home. And we set off on our journey to Nomeria to get the humanoid essence in Nomeria. We arrive. We are warned, essentially, not to be unkind or unfriendly to the leader of Nomeria, as that may have consequences. So all of us are at the point at the end of the session, at least, trying to keep our eye on Zeke to prevent him from making a bad impression.